Hi everyone, very good morning and welcome back to Crack Grade B. Okay, so we are going to start the schemes on Ministry of Social Justice. Fine, this has been a very long ministry because there are so many initiatives that has been taken. Now, from now onwards, there are few initiatives that have been left. So we are going to discuss those. Okay, so let's start. Today we will be discussing more about the capital venture related financing etc. that have been made available to your SC or SC and OBC entrepreneurs. Yes, we have to start from here. Okay, so number one scheme we have is called PM Yashasvi. The PM Young Achievers Scholarship Award schemes for Vibrant India for OBC as well as the others. So this particular scheme we have combined the scholarships which we are providing to the OBC students before matric scholarship as well as the post matric scholarship. All these scholarships have been combined. Fine. So let's see who all are the beneficiaries for us in this particular scheme. So first of all, the point to be noted over here is the existing centrally sponsored scheme related to pre-matric scholarship of OBCs as well as post-matric scholarship of OBCs, they were combined. Okay. Now, because there were not very much various scholarship was not provided for these particular communities, OBC, economically backward as well as the denotified tribes. That's why we have come up with this particular scheme. Okay. Now, what are the components that have been taken under your PM Young Achievers Scholarship? This is the next thing that you should focus on to. So, pre-matric scholarship, post-matric scholarship, top class school education, top class college education as well as for the construction of hostels. So these are the components that we have under this particular initiative. Okay, only this much you have to remember under this particular scheme, just the name, and we are providing scholarship to whom. Fine. Next is the sacred portal. Do you remember we have talked about this portal yesterday? Yesterday we were talking about this portal, right? When we were reading about the senior citizens, at that time we read about this portal. This sacred portal has been opened up so that employment opportunities can be provided to the senior citizens. So this is our initiative to provide under this particular portal. So this is a unique and innovative technology driven employment marketplace for whom? For senior citizens, where both job providers as well as the job seekers, they are going to seek the employment over here, right? So this was the portal that you should be having an idea about. Now next thing that we should be looking at is the National Action Plan for Drug Demand Reduction. So drug menace is for in certain parts of our country, drug menace is still very high. I'll not name the parts of the country. You already know about which part I'm talking about, right? So hence the drug demand related reduction, as well as you will now onwards you are going to see that what are the various programs that has been taken by government of India. Like Nasha Mukt Bharat is also one of such programs that we are going to talk about. Okay. Yes, it is. See, all those government exams you are preparing for, these schemes are useful for each and every one of you, right? These are useful for a person who might be giving a UPSC exam or a state level exam, etc. etc. They are useful for everyone. I hope that helps. Okay, Tripti? So now let's see National Action Plan for Drug Demand Reduction. What we are trying to do over here is, see, the similar kind of components: reduction, your preventive education, providing the counseling, treatment, and even after that, if someone is really a drug addict, then also providing the rehabilitation. So these are all components that we want to address under this particular initiative. The next thing that you should be looking at into which institute is the nodal institute. So National Institute of Social Defense, this is the nodal institute. Now about this institute, you do not have to go for PhD, you just have to remember that this institute works under which particular ministry. Right now it is easy for you to identify, but when the examination situation come at that particular point of time, we tend to forget this piece of information, right? So here what I want to tell you, National Institute of Social Defense, it is an organization under the administrative control of Ministry of Social Justice. This organization is going to provide us the nodal training as well as the research institute. So these are the benefits of this particular organization. Now, what are going to be the implementing agencies? Your Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment along with your Institute of NSID, they are the implementing agencies for us. Next, Technical Resource Institute. NSID is the technical agency for implementing this particular program across the country, this drug reduction program across the country. Now, what are the components under it? Components are very easy. So, I would not like to suggest you that you should be remembering the components, but still one time read is always advisable so that you understand the crux of the scheme. Till now, the drug reduction program, you have to learn about the institution which is the implementing agency, right? After that, the components are very generic one. These components, if any program is named as a drug reduction program, then we can easily identify that what it aims to do. So now let's read it and you will have an idea that what we want to do in this. So preventive education, capacity building, treatment, rehabilitation, setting the quality standards, intervention in the vulnerable areas, all those areas which are much more prone for the drug related use. After that, skill development, vocational training, survey, studies, evaluation. See, once you have implemented the program, you also want to know that how much benefit your program has brought in on the ground. This is very crucial thing to know about. Hence, the next important factor for us is the survey, study, evaluation, research and innovation, etc. Lastly, programs for drug demand reduction by the states as well as the UTs. Now, what is the financial assistance that we are going to provide under this particular initiative? That is also an important thing. These assistance is provided to the NGOs as well as the voluntary organizations who are running the rehabilitation centers for the addicts. Okay, they are eligible to receive grants up to 100% for the conducting this particular program. So this is the grant related thing, that they will be eligible to get the 100% grant under this particular scheme. Financial assistance would be then provided as per the annual action plan to the NISD. Obviously, if you are implementing any particular scheme, you want to know that what is your annual achievable targets, right? So first decide that, after that you are going to provide the funding under this particular initiative. So financial assistance. Now someone was one day some of you were asking, right, that private agencies are implementing the program. Like I have mentioned, NSID, it is your implementing agency, isn't it? So if NISD is not having that enough infrastructure that it can implement the program in all over the country, it needs the support of private organizations as well. So therefore, you are going to see over here that we are having the support of your NGOs as well as the voluntary organizations. Okay. Now there is some background, you can totally skip this, right? But still it is what you can say, not just this piece of information, I guess you should be having an idea about, right? Because we never know, the question can be asked. So number one is Article 47 of our constitution. This comes under DPSP. DPSP is Directive Principles of State Policy. So under Directive Principles of State Policy, it has been told to the government that they should handling such kind of menace. Now see over here, what state has been directed under the constitution? State has been directed that it should bring prohibition on the consumption of this alcoholic drinks as well as the drugs. Now this is something ironic, but still, so this is the requirement that has been provided in the constitution, that the state should bring an end to the alcoholic substances as well as the drugs related use, but at the same time they can be used for the medicinal purposes, right? Using them for medicinal purposes is allowed, but apart from that not allowed. So obviously state is bringing such kind of programs to implement this particular mandate. Next is India is a signatory to the, now there are some international conventions. Once you become the signatories of these conventions, you have to bring changes in your national laws as well, right? So I hope you understand what is the meaning of conventions. There, it is an understanding which has been evolved by the consensus of various countries, right? And once you sign it, then you have to make your national laws according to it, means you have to comply the provisions that has been written under that particular convention. I hope you guys understand what is the meaning of convention. Fine. Now next, see what are the conventions that India has signed. So see over here, UN conventions, a single convention related to narcotic drug, convention on psychotropic substances 1971, and convention against illicit traffic in the narcotic as well as psychotropic substances 1988. These are the cases over here. Now see, India has formulated an act in order to obviously uh, take care of the provisions of the contents that has been mentioned over here. So the government of India, it has entered the Narcotic Drugs and Psychotropic Substances Act in the year 1985. Okay, this particular act was formulated, and if you have seen, there was a John Abraham movie in that he was an officer under this particular act. I don't know whether you remember it or not, but this act is very super important for the controlling of drug menace in our country. NDPS Act it is called as. Okay, so this was just a little bit background of how India is tackling its drug related menace in its country, in our country. Now next scheme that we have is called as Scheme for Implementation of Rights of Persons with Disabilities Act 2016. So I'll tell you one thing. In 1995, we also had one act similar like that for the disabled person, but that act was having a welfare approach, not rights based approach. Now what is the difference between welfare approach and right based approach? Welfare approach means you cannot do something, let me help you, right? That is welfare approach. But rights approach is that I am giving you a right that you can perform this activity on your own. So right based approach is a more empowering approach. Fine. So that is the approach that we have formulated over here. We have got an act for disabled person, that is Rights of Persons with Disabilities Act 2016. This is having right based approach, right? It is providing all kinds of facilities, as well as we are going to see that what kind of rights have been provided to the disabled person. We are going to see that. Let's see what is being given over here. So ministry has implemented the Scheme for Implementation of Right of Persons with Disabilities Act, right? Grant in aid. Grants will be provided to whom? To state governments and various bodies which has been set up by the central and state government in order to implement this particular scheme. Now first of all, we are going to see that what are the major provisions of Persons with Disabilities Act 2016. What are the rights that we have provided to them? So what we actually want to do is we want to provide them right to education, vocation, training, employment, etc., along with the information and communication. So they can, it is our aim that they can live all of their life with same rights as well as responsibilities, just like a normal person. So this is our aim regarding the persons with disabilities, and let's see what have been the main features of this act. So 2-3 features of this act are very important, right? We are not going to discuss the whole act at length, but yes, because we are reading this, so we should be having information on it. Next is, see, right based, it is a right based legislation. I have already told you that what is the difference between a right based legislation and a welfare based legislation. Okay, right? Now next, categories of disabilities has been increased from 7 to 21. There are many kinds of disabilities from with a person that he can suffer with. So if you have seen that whenever the government releases any kind of notification for any kind of employment, you must have always seen that there is a separate person, separate reservation for the persons who are suffering from disabilities. Government also specifies that up to what kind of disability you can apply for this particular examination. So you could be having eye related, your legs related, your limbs related disability, ears related disability, etc, etc. Okay, so number of disabilities has been increased under this particular act. Now here comes the hero provision of this particular act. What is the hero provision? So reservation in the government jobs for the persons with disabilities has been increased to 4%. If there are 100 what you can say positions in the government job, then 4 positions will be given to the persons with disabilities. Even in the higher educational institutions, we have provided them the reservation up to 5%. This is the important provisions of this particular act. I think that these two provisions should be remembered by you in all circumstances. Okay. Now next is focuses on creating accessible environment for persons with disabilities, like providing them transportation related things as well as the information communication related technologies, etc. So that is for, so that they can their life can be made an easier life, right? It also focuses on promoting participation in skill development, sports, recreation. Now that is a very what you can say a point that you can obviously skip, not very important. Okay, now let's think that we should be looking at is the scheme that we have made for implementation of this particular act. We have made a scheme for implementation of disabilities related act. Now the first thing that you should notice about this scheme is it is a central sector scheme. Have you do you remember that the point that when we started this particular scheme, the first point that we read was that grants in aid will be provided to the states as well as states related agencies. Correct? We read about it, right? So under this particular scheme, states are not providing any kind of contribution. They will be receiving grants in aid from the central government. Now next is how we are going to implement this particular scheme. Again, a very kind of generic topic, I would like to say. You can just have one time read and then you will be able to understand. So when you are reading the document for the second time, or let's say for a third time, then you need not to focus on these because you will already be aware about them. Fine, let's see. So to provide barrier-free environment for the persons with disabilities in schools, colleges, training institutes, offices, public buildings, etc. Make government websites accessible to the persons with disabilities. To design the government websites like that so that they are accessible. I do not know whether you are aware or not, but there are some websites who function like this, that okay, there is a speech related assistance as well. If someone who cannot see, then that person can listen that what is the information that has been provided over the website. So taking such kind of initiatives to make the life of disabled an easy life. Apart from that, skill development related component is also there for the persons with disabilities to enhance the accessibility of environment, transport system, information as well as communication related systems. These are all the things that we are looking at to assist state government so that they can organize camp for issuance of disability certificates, right? Support composite rehabilitation centers, all those rehabilitation centers that are working for the benefit of your disabled. Research and development, etc., etc., grant to the state government UTs, correct? These are all the normal points that you can just have one time read. Research development related to disabled, grant to the state governments. These are all the components of scheme for implementation of your Disabilities Act. Construction of special recreation center, identification as well as survey. Now next scheme that we have in our hand is related to the credit enhancement guarantee scheme for the scheduled caste people. Now remember two things over here. We are reading this scheme and after that we are going to read another scheme. That scheme is related to the venture capital related support, and this scheme is for the loans that have been provided to the scheduled caste. So when I am teaching this particular scheme, please pay attention what I am teaching, for what purpose this kind of loan will be provided, okay? And after that we are going to see that what is the aim of venture capital related scheme as well, okay? So first scheme, this has been started in the 2015. What we want to do with this, we want to promote entrepreneurship among the scheduled caste population in our India. What is the fund? So 200 crore rupees have been allocated towards the credit enhancement facilities. Now nodal agency is IFCI Limited. Can you guys tell me what is the full form of IFCI? Can you guys tell me what is the full form of IFCI? What is the full form of IFCI? Industrial Finance Corporation of India, a statutory corporation established in 1948. Please remember it, okay? I repeat, IFCI, Industrial Finance Corporation of India. Good, Nivedita. And it is a statutory corporation and was established in the year of 1948, soon after India got its independence. Right? Now let's see the eligibility criteria. Who all are eligible? So we are going to differentiate with this scheme and the next scheme that we are going to read on the basis of the eligibility. Fine. So small and medium enterprises. See, we are supporting whom? Small and medium enterprises, okay? Projects, units which are being set up, promoted by the scheduled caste in the manufacturing as well as the service sector, which are not covered under any other central government subsidy or grant scheme. So this particular component is common for all the government schemes. All the government scheme says that if you are already taking the benefits under any other scheme, then please do not take benefit in the multiple schemes, right? One scheme, if you are already getting the benefit, you should stick to that. You should not move forward and take benefits in all the other schemes. That is what we want to say. And plus in this scheme, we are promoting the small and medium enterprises. So please remember this as well. When we are going to talk about the next scheme, this will become useful for you. Now next is for registered companies, company form of organization which is established under the Companies Act, and the societies who have more than 75% of shareholding by the scheduled caste entrepreneurs with management control for the past 12 months. Now remember this, once you have got the funding, this particular shareholding cannot be reduced. 75% of the shareholding should remain with the scheduled caste entrepreneurs, and this is the norm. You cannot reduce it once you get the funding. You have to maintain it at all the times. This is the requirement. Okay. So this was regarding the registered companies. Now we have regarding the registered partnership firms. See, registered partnership firms having more than 75% of the shareholding with the scheduled caste partners for the past 12 months. None of the partners should be below the age of 18 years. We do not want minor partners. All the partners should be major one. Fine. 75% of the shareholding should be with the scheduled caste population, as well as, again, the same thing I am telling you, government is giving you the guarantee over here. Why? Because you are having scheduled caste population with you. You cannot reduce it. You cannot. Correct? The next is the scheduled caste promoters, partners, society members shall not dilute their stake below 75% in company enterprise during the currency of the loan. ऐसा नहीं हो सकता कि लोन लेने के लिए आपने उनको 75% मेंबरशिप दे दी हो और उसके बाद बोलो कि नहीं अब जाओ. No. For the whole duration of loan, the shareholding cannot be diluted below the 75%. Okay. Now, what is the coverage? To whom we are providing the guarantee. Understand this. Meaning of guarantee means what? So, under this scheme, your banks as well as other institutions will provide you loan. Okay. And government is going to provide them the guarantee. Please, you can continue giving loans, and if anyone defaults in this particular scheme, then we have your back. We have covered all of your losses. So this is the meaning of guarantee. Here I do not mean to say the 200 crore rupee, the fund that has been kept, it has not been kept so that the loans can be provided. No, it has been kept so that the guarantee can be provided to the banks. And yes, we are estimating that not everyone is going to default. If someone defaults, then yes, government is there to provide the guarantee. Now let's see the coverage. It is a scheme for issuing the guarantee to the banks as well as the financial institutions. Under this particular scheme, individuals, sole proprietorship, registered companies, partnership and societies who are belonging to scheduled castes, they are eligible for the loans from rupees 15 lakhs and above and can avail a maximum guarantee cover up to 5 crore. Right? So this is the maximum cover, and the loans eligibility is starting from the 15 lakh rupees. What is the maximum repayment tenure? So it is 7 years. 7 years is the maximum. Within this particular period of time, you have to repay whatever you have taken. Okay. Now for your, what you can say, you can just have a look on this particular table. This particular table is in detail. Although not that much detail is required, but for those students who want to read any document in detail, this particular limit has been provided. Under this, you will be seeing that what is the eligibility for registered companies. You are also going to see that what is the eligibility for partnership firms as well as the society. As per the loan amount, if loan amount is more than 5 crore, from 2 to 5 crore and 0.25 to 2 crore. So these are the limits that you can just have. Now here you see for partnerships as well as societies, the minimum cover available is for the 15 lakh rupees. Okay. So like that, you do not have to remember each and everything. Like for registered partnership, guarantee cover which is available is 60% of whatever you have sanctioned. In case of company, it depends on the loan amount. If the loan amount is up to 2 crore, then 80% guarantee is available. Whatever your loan amount is, 80% of that guarantee is available to the banks. If loan amount is, as your loan amount is going to increase, if it is between 2 to 5 crores, then you see 70% guarantee will be provided. And if your loan amount goes more than 5 crores, In that case, 60% of the sanction facility. And for partnership as well as societies, the guarantee cover which is being provided is the 60% of the sanction facility. So this is how you should read any particular table. You should try to find out the exceptional details out of it, right? Okay, what is the exception? How for companies, what is the guarantee cover moves like? How for partnership firms as well as societies, the guarantee cover moves like? This is how, whenever you are reading any particular document, maybe it can relate to anything. Whenever you are giving the government examinations, this is how you should read. Exceptions should always be read. Differences between two, like here I am comparing what is the difference between the registered companies guarantee and what is the difference between the partnership firm and the societies related eligibility. Okay, with that, now we are going to move to our next scheme. Apart from the agency which is handling this, not very much is important under this particular scheme of Nasha Mukt Bharat. We have already seen that what is the India's administrative structure in order to restrict this component of your drug meanness, right? NDPS Act, you have to remember, NDPS 1985. Now Nasha Mukt Bharat, this was started in on off from the 15th August 2020. Currently it is applicable in the 372 districts. What is our aim? So basically we have seen that this is a the something, it is called as being cool, right? So the all the youngsters, they find themselves that they are looking cool when they are having such kind of drugs, and even all the other kind of substance abuse that you can talk about. I cannot talk about them in the class, but we all know that this problem of drug meanness is quite evident in the youngsters or the adolescent population of our country. So for that, this scheme totally focuses on the substance abuse among the youth. This is the most vulnerable population, right? And we want to focus, they have categorized higher educational institutions, university campuses as well as the schools to focus onto that, so that we can fight with the such kind of drug meanness. Now under this particular scheme, although there is nothing much to discuss about, but yes, the implementation structure becomes important for us, and the question, a very easy and direct question can be formed on it. So Nasha Mukt Bharat campaign is a three-pronged campaign, right? Three-pronged campaign. There are these particular agencies involved: Narcotics Control Bureau, Ministry of Social Justice, as well as Health Department is also involved. These three are together handling this kind of meanness. Now in every district there is a district level Nasha Mukt committees, and who is the chairperson of these particular committees? District collector or district magistrate, right? So this becomes an important piece of information for us, that in the district Nasha Mukt Kendras, your district collector or district magistrate is the most important person. Now next is you are having the state level Abhiyan committees. In this, Chief Secretary of the department will be implementing, and it is also going to be monitored at the central level by the Ministry of Social Justice. These two are not very important, but because of the heading by the district collector and district magistrate, this piece of information becomes important for us, like district level Nasha Mukt committees. Okay, now next thing, see, we are having scheme for venture capital fund for scheduled castes. Now please remember this thing, the scheme that we have read just one scheme back, right? We talked about that we want to provide the entrepreneurship to the scheduled caste population, and this particular scheme, please try to find the differences between these two. Now I am going to start reading. Before starting that scheme as well, I have already told you that please try to find the differences, and hence we are going to see this as well with those particular lenses. So please open up your brain, try to find out the differences between the schemes which you think that these are quite similar in nature. So let's talk about the scheme for venture capital fund for scheduled caste. It was started in the year 2015. Who is the sponsoring agency? Sponsoring agencies for us is Department of Social Justice and Empowerment. Remember, this is a long scheme, okay? So when we are reading it, please do not lose your patience, because after reading about SC, we have also to read about the OBC categories. We also have a venture capital fund for our OBC population. So both of them we are going to study. Implementing agencies of is your Department of Social Justice. What is the aim? So the aim is to provide the concessional finance to SC entrepreneurs, women, disabled SC entrepreneurs. It will be given priority. Now, after reading this particular statement, can you tell me that what is the difference between the scheme that we have read earlier on and this scheme? What is the difference between these two? Anyone who would like to point out the difference? What is the difference? If you are reading, if you are paying attention what on I am saying, then you would be able to easily guess the difference. uh, Not a good performance, but I'll tell you. The earlier scheme, in that we were talking about providing guarantee. All those banks, financial institutions who are giving the loans to the scheduled caste population, government said that we will be providing you the guarantee. Please give the loans. If someone is going to default, then please come to us. We are going to pay you back, right? And it will depend whether it is a company or a partnership to whom you have given the loan. For a partnership, we read that 60% is the covered amount. For a company, we read that it depends on what amount of loan you have provided, right? So that was that scheme. It was talking about providing the guarantee. Here we are talking about providing concessional finance. We are trying to give the direct loan for the ventures that they are starting, for the startups that they are having. Okay, now let's see, investment focus is on what? Investment in projects units being set up in manufacturing, services as well as the allied sectors, including the startups. This is what our focus is. Venture capital is provided after, see, once you have started the startup, okay, one round of funding has already been there. Now you need the second round of funding in order to expand your business, in order to grow your business. So with in relation to that, these particular venture capital funds are quite useful for us. Now, what is the size of this scheme? Please read this scheme because this is an important scheme. This scheme has various components to which you should be remembering upon. Okay, so initial capital of the fund is again 200 crores, which will be supplemented every year, and you are going to see that it is going to increase. Now the present contribution by the IFCI and those in future will be aligned with proportionate to the Government of India's share. GOI as well as IFCI both are taking part in this. Considering that sizable corpus funds are available from the contributions made, the threshold limit will be 500 crores, or when the total disbursals from the fund reaches 80% mark, whichever is more, right? So if you have been able to disburse the more funds, then after that threshold limit will be increased to the 500 crore. This is what this particular scheme is saying. That means it is, the corpus will be dependent on the performance that you guys are displaying. If you are able to support, if you are able to provide the finance related support to as many enterprises as you can, then we are going to provide you the support under here. Next is the structure, how this particular structure, this scheme has been envisaged. So the scheme would be set up as a fund which is registered under the alternative investment fund regulations of the SEBI. Okay, under this particular scheme, GOI, Government of India, is an anchor investor who invests first, right? and IFCI Limited is an sponsor investor. Okay, scheme is being implemented with the support of IFCI Venture Capital Fund Limited. That means one of the subsidiaries of the IFCI Limited. That is how we are providing the support. Alternative investment funds, these are the privately pooled investment funds, and these are used for some specific components, right? So SEBI has formulated the guidelines for this. You do not have to read much about what are alternative investment funds. Just remember that these are the funds which are privately pooled, means not everyone is contributing in it. No, means the public is not contributing in it. There are some specific people or some specific institutions who are contributing money into this particular fund, and this particular fund is, they are always having a specific objective. Like in this case, they want to provide the concessional finance to all those SC entrepreneurs, right? Now, how is the nature of funding? It is a central sector scheme. Very important. So venture capital related support, I have already seen so many times government of India is mentioned. Nowhere governments of state have been mentioned. So yes, this is a central sector scheme. Only GOI and IFCI, these are two together, they are promoting venture capital finance. Now the drawdown period is, capital contributions can be drawn up to 31st March 2026. This is the applicability of this scheme. Duration of the fund, you can just skip it. This is 14 years. The tenure of financial assistance is up to 10 years. Next is size of financial assistance. So this is important for us. Now this scheme and the earlier scheme, I have told you repeatedly that the earlier scheme was providing guarantee. That was the indirect support from the government to the banks. Here it is the direct support to the SC entrepreneurs. We are providing the financing directly. There is no role of guarantee over here. So size of financial assistance that is being provided is from 10 lakhs to 15 crores. And what was the maximum limit under that particular scheme? Do you remember? What was the maximum guarantee that we were providing under that particular scheme? Anyone? Do you remember? 5 crores. Right? 5 crores was the maximum support, maximum guarantee cover that was being provided under that particular initiative, where we were providing guarantees to the member lending institution. Here you are going to see that the maximum support is from 10 lakhs to the 15 crores. But at the same time, there is one restriction as well. Maximum aggregate assistance cannot be more than the 2 times of net worth of the company. For all those students who are reading finance with me, they must be aware that what is net worth. Net worth is equity share capital plus your free reserves. In these two, you are going to minus any kind of miscellaneous expenditure that you might be having, any kind of loss in the profit and loss account that you might be having. That is called as your net worth. Okay. So please don't get confused with the net worth. For easy understanding, you can just understand net worth is the equity share capital as well as the reserves of the company. These are the two things. Next is approximate number of projects which are going to be financed. So these are the projects as well as these are the new incubation ideas which have been identified for the support under this particular scheme. Yes, it was 5 crores. Just you are a little late. Financial assistance up to 5 crores, 75 deals have been identified, and financial assistance above than 5 crores, 15 deals have been identified. Okay. This piece of information, I'll call it as a moderate piece of information, right? Not very important, not very useless as well. So medium kind of understanding you can give it to it. Now next thing is important, the expenses of the fund. So 2% of the fund corpus will be expended over the life of fund, An additional 0.5% shall be utilized for the Ambedkar Social Innovation Incubation Mission Initiative. I do not think that you must be having the idea about this. So let me tell you, Ambedkar Social Innovation Incubation Mission. Remember this particular mission, the initiative or the aim of this particular mission is to raise the entrepreneurship level in the SC students. This scheme is for students. So all those students who are having any particular idea and they need any kind of financial support in order to convert that idea into a probable future startup, right? So support will be provided, and that is why it is being said that whatever will be the corpus of this fund, 0.5% we are going to give to the Ambedkar Social Innovation Incubation Mission, right? Next, what are the expected returns through the investment? 4% per annum. For women and disabled, 3.75% per annum. See, obviously, you are giving the finance, so you are going to charge something. You are government, that is agreeable, but some amount of returns are important. Why? Because the government funds have also been sourced from such kind of sources. So government has to give the returns or the interest to their borrowed capital. So why they cannot have some amount of benefit from this? Although this is not a very huge benefit, you see, 4% as well as for women and disabled, just they are taking the benefit of 3.75%, not more than that. Next, let's read about the eligibility criteria. So the projects units, they are being set up in manufacturing. They can set up in the manufacturing sectors as well as the services sectors, who are ensuring asset creation out of the fund. We are not giving you the funds for your revenue consumption purposes. No, we are giving you the funds so that you can develop some assets out of it. So these funds have been provided just for the asset creation. At least 30% of the beneficiaries, they are going to be the women entrepreneurs. Disabled scheduled entrepreneurs will also be preferred, but there is no limitation on to it. You should be preferring them, but for women, 30% of the limit has been provided, that the minimum assistance should go for the 30% women entrepreneurs. Now, how we are going to define this? See over here. If assistance is below 50 lakhs, then companies, a successor entity of proprietary, partnership, one-person company or any other establishment incorporated under any law should have at least 51% of the stakeholding by the scheduled caste entrepreneurs. This is the requirement, right? Now understand this, the one statement I have already told you earlier. Once you have taken the loan, once you have taken the finance, their shareholding cannot go below 51%. This is the compulsion. 51% is the at last you should be having for the past 6 months. In the past 6 months, 51% of the stake should be with the SC entrepreneurs. If your assistance is above 50 lakhs, then in these kind of institutions, at least 51% of the stake should be with the SC entrepreneurs, and the time limit is for the past 12 months. In the past 12 months, your 51%, that means the ownership stake should have been with the SC entrepreneurs, then you will be eligible for a loan more than 50 lakhs, right? And the same thing, that SC promoters, they will not be diluting their shareholding below 51% once they have got the support under this particular scheme. For technology oriented innovative projects, so this is also an important component. See over here, innovative ideas will be selected by the technology business incubators for incubation funding to cover the cost of operation, subject to a ceiling of 10 lakhs on an average per year for a period of 3 years, subject to satisfactory progresses. So if there are any innovative ideas that has been come up by the SC entrepreneurs, and these ideas will be selected by the technology business incubators, and these ideas then will be provided a separate support but with a ceiling of 10 lakh rupees. For technology related ideas, technology related innovative ideas, this is the support that your technology business incubators can be providing. Next is new companies which are having at least 51% of the shareholding by the first time scheduled caste entrepreneurs who are working in the innovative projects related to the technology. So see, they should be working with the support of incubation centers in the IITs, NITs as well as the medical college, etc. Or they might also be working without such incubation centers, but they are having patent rights. They are having the patent rights. So projects sanctioned by the departments of government of India after the due appraisal. In these particular cases, you are allowed to have a maximum of 10 lakh rupees support from the government. If you are working with the incubation centers like of IIT, IIMs, NIT, etc. If you are working under the project which has been sanctioned by government of India, or you are not working under anyone but you are having some good patent rights. So these are the patterns that you can go up to. Now next is related to the funding patterns. This we will be covering tomorrow, right? Because otherwise this will become too lengthy of a concept. So this particular thing we should be covering tomorrow because the time is up for today. And tomorrow we are also going to, so schemes have not been end to yet. We have a lot more to cover under social justice and empowerment. But believe me, we are going to cover at length so many schemes. I'll try to keep the information short so that it becomes easier to you to understand, as well as also remember that what kind of information we should be preferring. Okay, so with that, thank you so much for joining in. I hope you have learned something out of this lecture, and if you did, then please do not forget to like this. Okay, thank you.